So just a few days ago, I turned 72 years old. And you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I feel mobile and I can do pretty much what I want. I feel strong. I mean, I don't feel perfect every day, but all in all, I feel pretty good. And I feel very grateful to God that He's got me through this 72 years. But you know, I started to think, how am I going to feel in 5 or 10 years based on how I feel today? How are you going to feel in 5 or 10 years based on how you feel today? You know, we're living longer than ever before, and health span and lifespan are two different things. I mean, you can live till 90, but if your health span is 70, that's 20 years of decline. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want 20 years of decline. I want to be mobile. I want to be able to do the things that I want to do and move around and dance and have fun. So in today's video, I'm going to share some of the things that I do, some of my little secrets to keep me strong and fit at 72 years old. And I'm going to share with you some fascinating facts about the Japanese, because believe it or not, they're decades ahead of us. So if you don't know me, my name's Adele, and welcome to Forever Young, where I think that everyone should be able to feel forever young, no matter how old they are in age. But I know that sometimes we get up in the morning and we hobble out of bed and, we look in the mirror and we see things we really don't want to see and we don't feel so forever young. Well, we've been in bed for probably 7 to 8 hours sleeping. We're pretty much immobile. And what happens is your synovial fluid, that's what lubricates your cartilage. And while you're sleeping, it thickens your muscles, so you kind of can be a little stiff. And as the day goes on, you do tend to lighten up, you start to feel better, and you wake up. But it's like compounding interest if you don't move every single joint in your body. We have a lot of different joints all throughout our body. And what happens is that year after year, month after month, it's like compounding interest. And pretty soon you notice that you have kind of a stiff neck. Where'd that come from? A slight backache. And before you know it, you can't even touch your toes. Well, the Japanese have some answers for this. You know that 78% of the people in Japan can climb upstairs without any problem at all, while only 41% of Americans can? Why is that? And studies show that if you can get up off the floor without using your hands, that you have a 68% chance less risk of mortality in the next 8 years. Well, if you figure it out, the Japanese sit on the floor on low tables to eat their dinner. They sit with their legs crossed. They're constantly getting up and down off the floor. Now, how do they do this? Well, in Japan, they have a routine that they do, and it's called Ragyo Taiso, and it simply means radio exercise. It was actually started in 1928 in the United States as radio calisthenics. It's like a simple movement, very, very easy. And the Japanese had embraced it, and it became a Japanese tradition. Even to this day, they do it. And it's simple, simple movements. And what's so funny is I started doing this without even knowing it in the morning for about 5 minutes. And it is so incredibly simple that I know every one of you can do it. It's very easy. I want to just take a quick little look, a quick little clip at exactly what they're doing. Let's take a look. So they're simply just standing here, stretching the arms up and to the side, and then up again and to the side. It's really so easy, and they're swinging, see, they're using their legs and their arms, just loosening up their joints, and then they're swinging, and then they're going to go all the way around with their arms both ways. It's so simple, and they just kind of loosen up. So you see, it's really so simple. It's such an easy thing to do, and I'm going to put a link to the video down below, the 15-minute video that you can do, and I hope you'll try it out. Now, another thing that I think is really important that I do all the time is I try to check myself on my balance, which is to be able to stand on your one foot, one leg, for at least 7 to 10 seconds without wobbling. And if you can't do this, you should start practicing it, because there's a strong correlation between your balance and your brain, your muscle strength and your brain. It's very, very important to be able to do that. So what I do is I stand on one leg while I'm brushing my teeth. When I put my dishes in the dishwasher, sometimes what I'll do is I'll be on one leg and I'll bend over and put a dish in the dishwasher, and then I'll use the other leg and I'll put the dish in the dishwasher just to make sure I can do it. And what's funny and interesting is after I had that accident, which some of you may know about and some of you may not, at 69 years old, I flew in the air and pulled my hamstring off of my pelvic bone, all of them, and they had to be reattached. And it was a very long recovery, 14 or so months, full brace, you know, trying to get my muscles back because they were just completely cut off. And having muscles to begin with really saved me. And I did a whole video on that if you want to check it out, called Surviving the Fall. But in any event, it was very important. And I noticed when I would get on the left leg to do that, putting the dishes in the dishwasher, it was wobbly. And you know, that's so subtle. If I didn't know that, I probably wouldn't have that balance that I do now. And balance is so important. It will help if you did fall, you know, I mean, you could brace yourself. So that's something that you can do and practice it if you don't, you know, if you haven't already practiced it. It's a real simple technique to make sure that you can do that. Another thing that is very important is your grip strength. I practice my grip strength a lot. You know, grip strength is really showing how you will be, what type of vitality you have to being an older adult. It's very important to be able to open up jars, to carry your groceries. It's an indication of how well you actually hold on to things, tells you how long you're going to hold on to life. And that is really very true. What I do is I take this little thing that my husband has. It's a little squeaky now, but we practice, you know, squeezing this. At the gym, you can hold on to a bar. You can get some of these bars that you hang on to, and you can put them in your house and hang. You can, you know, do various things for grip strength. You can get a tennis ball and squeeze it. If you've ever tried to squeeze a lemon on your own, you don't want to have trouble doing that. You can actually, you know, cut a little top of the lemon and try to squeeze it. Now, when I make sauces, I want things in a hurry. So, you know, I use the lemon squeezer. But you know how difficult those kinds of things. And you don't want to be alone and immobile by yourself, not being able to open up things. And again, if you did happen to trip or fall, that grip strength would help you to make sure that you could stop that fall. Because studies are showing, and I talked about this statistic, it's a global statistic, that if you're 65 or over and you fall and break something, you have a 50% mortality rate within a year. That's very scary. So you don't want to fall and break something, and you want to have strong muscles. So I talk a lot about muscles on my videos, and they're so important because, you know, the good news is about muscles is it's the only organ in our body that doesn't age. It's ageless as long as you strengthen your muscles. You can have the same muscles as a 30-year-old at 70. As a matter of fact, some 30-year-olds don't have the muscles that the 70-year-olds have. I see it at the gym. I see 70-year-old, 75-year-old men. They're looking very good. And I'm not talking about bodybuilders. I'm just talking about really strong and looking much younger than their age. I'm sure as they got older, they started to think about it, as we often do, going, hey, we better do something if we want to be having a nice, long health span with our lifespan. And some of the 30-year-olds are actually not as strong as some of the 70-year-olds and 75-year-olds because they're looking at Netflix, or they're on their computer all day, or on their iPhones, and they need to get out there and exercise. Not that they're all like that, but many of them are weaker than, you know, what it used to be years ago. And that has a lot to do with so many things. You know, NIH did a study that I have mentioned in the past in one of my videos where they took 60 and 80-year-old people and they put them on a weight strength training program for 3 months, and they had unbelievably great results after 3 months of strength training, and they build bone mass, which is so important to our bodies. Now, what do you need in order to build muscle? Of course, you need protein. You want to make absolutely sure you get enough protein. So the kind of the standard, what all of the the authorities say, is you need 1 gram of protein for your ideal body weight. So say you're 150 pounds and your ideal body weight, maybe you've 10 pounds overweight, you want 140 pounds of 140 pounds, 140 grams of protein a day, and you can, put it into your 3 meals a day. It's very important to dose it. Dr. Gabrielle Lyons talks about that, and she's a foremost authority on skeletal muscle and muscles. She has the book Forever Strong, which if you haven't read, it's a great book to read, and you can get that on Amazon. So I love that book. But, so you want to make sure that you get enough protein. I've actually made a chart, and I put it on my my community post on my website of protein, what measurements of different proteins, just kind of give you an idea. And I'll put that link down below in this video if you want to check that out, or you can go to my YouTube page under posts, and you can see that post and give you an idea of what kind of protein. And so of course you want to eat whole foods. If you're not eating whole foods and you're eating these ultra processed foods, there's no way that this is going to work for you, because these are fake foods and your body does not know what to do with these fake foods. It's impossible. I mean, the body's like, it goes to fat and it goes to inflammation. And then we get on the arthritic drugs and all the things that come with it. And before you know it, you're a prisoner of all of these medications. So if you're not eating whole foods, try to do as much non-ultra processed foods as you can. I also did a video, because this is my main thing that I always talk about, on food labels. It's very deceptive. The packaging is deceptive. The advertising is deceptive. They've changed the names of things. When we used to have MSG, people would say, oh, no MSG, so they changed that. It can be in artificial flavors or natural flavors, natural flavors, So I have a video on that, and it is called Say What's in My Food? Read the labels. And I show you how to read some of these labels. And once you start learning about it, it's really very easy. But if you stick to whole foods, like in other words, have the orange rather than the orange juice. It's so funny because people think orange juice is healthy. It's usually some kind of concentrated orange juice with water, and that water has fluoride in it, and it goes right to sugar in your body. Better to eat the orange with the fiber, in the whole orange. So these things are just things that are so easy, but we've been duped, with fast foods and all of this stuff. So you want to get rid of all of the packaged types of ultra processed foods. You're going to feel so much better just after a little while. Cut down a little on that, and you're going to do great. Another thing that is very important is your sleep, of course, but people think that sleep is just for resting, but actually it's for a cleansing and a cleaning. Your brain actually detoxes at night and cleans out your brain and the toxins. It builds your immune system. People that don't get enough sleep when they're around 70, they have different kinds of heart disease, and they're much more prone to get all of these diseases. So if you just go to bed around the same time every night, if you can possibly do that, the body loves this kind of, routine. I know sometimes you can't do that. You have things, or you got going out somewhere and you get in later. But on the whole, if you can get the sleep the same time and get up, and don't eat 3 hours before you go to bed. That's another thing. Stop eating 3 hours before so your body can repair. You're going to feel entirely different if you try this just for a few days. Even after a few days, it starts to reset. So you want to get a good night's sleep. Now, as far as sleep goes, I do a couple of different things that I've done for years. Is I wear my blue blockers here. I've shown these before. These are fantastic, and I put them on, before, like a couple hours before I go to bed, even if it's just an hour, because sometimes I like to, look at YouTube and see what's going on, and I'll look at my favorite YouTuber and I'll have these on, and it brings down all of the lights from this day. And I love these because they come from Bond Charge. The reason I like Bond Charge is because they have all kinds of science-backed studies, and these take out blue and green light, which completely helps you to sleep and build melatonin. So these are fantastic. I actually have a discount down below if you're interested in getting these. And what I love about them too is they come with, you can get them in readers. It costs just a little bit more, and you can get them in prescription. And many of these blue blockers, you put them on, but you can't see because you wear readers like I do. So these are fantastic. Another little hack that I do is I ground. Now, you can ground outside. It's connecting to the earth. It's called earthing. You can connect to the earth outside for free. I happen to have a grounding mattress cover that I got from an earthing company that Clint Ober has. He's one of the people that started this whole grounding thing. They did the movie earthing.com. I'll put the link down below. I'll put his link to where I got my mattress. This is the mattress cover that I have, and it plugs into a socket where you get to check to make sure that everything's okay with it. They send you this little light. As long as it's orange, that outlet is fine. And you put it on the bed. What it does is it helps with your blood velocity. If it's thick blood, it helps to lower blood pressure, circulation, inflammation. I got that when I had the accident. I had heard about grounding, and of course I can't stand outside all night, or sometimes it's cold or whatever. So I started to use that, and it's been, a lot of people say I healed from this much quicker than other people. And at my age, that's a big deal because we take longer to heal as we get older. And most of the people that have my accident, it's so funny, I hooked up to people all over the country, this athletic groups and stuff, and they're all like 30, 39. One lady said, hey, and I'm 55. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm 69, So I was very blessed. And I think that this grounding mattress had a lot to do with it. And, if you don't know about grounding, there's this book called Earthing, and you can get this on Amazon. I'll put a link below. This has got all the studies. It's the most important health discovery of our time. And it's just connecting back to the earth, because we are not connected with our rubbered shoes. We're never connected. That's why we feel so great when we go to the beach, step on sand. You can go outside, you can stand on concrete as long as it's not shellacked or something, and you can still ground there. Grounding on the grass, take your shoes and socks off. Of course, on sand, go out in the morning. So you can do this for free. Or you can get some kind of a grounding mattress. They have a mat cover, or you can get small ones, and animals love it. It's amazing. So I just put my sheet over it, and I sleep on the grounding all the time. And I can tell when I go away if I'm not sleeping on a grounded mattress. And then overall, I have one more thing that I said that if it's the only thing that I have, I would get rid of everything. I would get rid of the makeup. I would get rid of all of my little tools that I use. I would get rid of anything. And for 8 years, I've used my portable Relax sauna, and I did a video on that. Did you know that 3 times a week, 20 minutes a day, you have a 50% less risk of heart attack and a 61% less risk of stroke? And it has so many benefits. It's a far infrared sauna, and it's portable. And I absolutely love it. I did a video on it. I told you why I picked that. I've been recommending it for 8 years, and I also have a discount code for that. Again, these are investments, not something you have to do. But I'm telling you the things that I do that I feel make me feel different than the typical 72-year-old. Now, there's a few people that are really doing it. They're older and they're doing great. And I like to see what they're doing too. But you want to think about what you're going to be like. Are you going to be at 50? How do you feel right now? How are you going to feel at 70, 71, 72? If you're 75 or even 80, it's never too late to start. I mean, you can actually start with the Raggio Taiso. You're going to see that it's so easy. I mean, you're just moving. I think anybody could do that. So these are the things that I do that's kept me going strong at 72. So I want you to go strong too. And, I hope you've enjoyed some of this video, and please check out some of these things. Try the grounding outside. Look at the Taiso. I'll have the video for the Raggio Taiso down below, and check it out. It looks like it's fun and very, very easy to do. So let me know, do you have a hack that you use that you think is like phenomenal? I'd love for you to share it with the community. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you on my next video. Take care.